so it's working. Hello everybody and welcome here. I didn't expect that huge audience here. My name is Andreas Stauder from brain-tec, Switzerland. And I want to show you a tool that we developed since version 6.1, and we updated it for all versions till version 10. And I thought it's a good idea to show you what we did there. So this is the agenda for today. I just want to give you a short explanation what is the problem we faced and we tried to solve, and how we tried to solve that with Selenium. Maybe first question, who has an idea about what Selenium is or used it already? Please raise your hands. Okay, not that many. Okay. So I will first explain how Selenium works, no worry about that, and then demo it, and then just come to question and answers. So Selenium is a tool to test directly in the browser. So why should we test in the browser? It's mainly for integration tests, so end-to-end tests. We want to do exactly the same what the user is doing when he's clicking around. And what we want to do with our development is that the tests are easy to understand, also for non-technical user. We wanted to test the full stack, especially JavaScript. Think about a field that gets read-only, but only in the view. You cannot test that with a RPC test or a unit test. And there are also quite nice tools to record tests. So we decided for Selenium as a tool, and Selenium has a Selenium builder. And this is just an extension in the Firefox browser, works only in Firefox, and it records all the activities you're doing. So you're clicking around in a website and it records everything. As you can see here, you opened the website and you clicked on a few things. How does Selenium do that? It tries to figure out an XPath where you clicked and then record that to play back the same action. And that's exactly the problem with Odoo, and that here's just the explanation why Selenium doesn't work out of the box with Odoo together. When you have a look into the code, in the HTML code of Odoo, you will see that a few elements do have classes, but classes do have underscore and an ID. Here, for example, the O field input underscore 3, and Selenium goes and thinks, okay, ID, that's quite unique in a website, so I will record the ID and then use it to play back the same test. But when you work with Odoo, you maybe already know the ID is changing when you are moving around in the interface, so you cannot rely on the ID. So what we did is we created a tool that allows us to do that anyway, and I just want to show you that. So I go into my browser and I just start Selenium Builder. That is an existing tool. We just adapted it, and I start recording a test. So when I click now around, I go to Sales. You can see that it records everything. And here it records that I clicked on the main menu with the ID 88. So that's the 88 is a unique ID for this database. And then I want to create a sale order. So you see that it recorded the submenu with the ID and then the sub-submenu. So I create the sale order, and the first thing, it recorded also that. The first thing I have to do is I have to enter the name of the client. I do that, and now you see that it recorded this step twice, and that's the nice thing about that tool. You can also edit it directly here and say I want to delete this step because it's doubled. I already have this step recorded. So I can click here around and let's say I want to sell a mouse. A wireless mouse. Then I save it. And as you can see, it records all the tests, and I confirm sale. So that's just a small test case. Next step is I stop the recording. And I want to save this test. And I just save it. Sorry. I want to export it. And here we have added a few additional options to what you can export normally. You have quite a few options to export it. And here we just have this part is just maintained till version 9, but it records also tests for version 10 enterprise, and I can save it as version 10. Let's call it for the experience days, the robot framework. And I just want to show you how a file like this looks like. Where was it? Here. That's a file. When I save a file, then it will look like this. And it comes with a few additional information like the resource and then the login part. That's all in a template when you save the test, and then it starts here by going to this website, clicking on these few menus, clicking on the button list at, selecting the partner, opening order line, and then selecting the product, clicking on the save button, and then on the confirm button. And we have here something that is quite easy to read even if you want to maintain the test later, and let's say replace agrole by a variable. It should be quite easy to see where you have to do that. Okay, next is you want to playback the test, because that's all the game we did, and I just show you this here. So it opens a browser and it does all these tests and playbacks all the tests. It's not exactly the same file, but okay. And sale order is confirmed. So here we have a tool where you can record the test, and we try to make it that easy that even a secretary can click around doing the test. And we can also record a video here of this. There are specific platforms where you can send the test to cloud platforms, and they will run the test on different browser, different platforms, Windows, even on mobile phones. And you can they record video of that, and you can show that to the client, and he will understand what you actually tested. So how does it work? There are a few components involved into that. First of all, the plugin in Firefox that is recording everything. We have adapted it that it goes to the specific things that are used for Odoo. Let's say the menu, the sub menu, and so on, many to one, and whatever. You'll find the slides hopefully also online. And then there is something you have to install in Odoo that adds all this additional information into HTML, so that Selenium is able to record and playback all these tests. This is the web Selenium in the middle, and you have to have this add-on on the Odoo instance. You record the test, and also in the Odoo instance you play back the test, so you have to install it there. We wanted to keep that module that it as easy as possible, so that it doesn't change the code, and we could manage that all in the Q app. So it's JavaScript, but it should impact Odoo more than really necessary. We don't want to change Odoo and test in a completely different platform. So when we change everything in Odoo, we do no longer test Odoo. So we want to keep that as small as possible. That's also why you see the ID in the menu. For the ID, we do not have something we can rely on, or we didn't find something. For example, the external XML reference, we didn't manage to do that in a nice way to record this. So we record the ID of the menu item because we didn't find something better. Then to playback, we use the robot framework, what is a great testing framework, and has extensions for databases, mail services, and so on, even RPC, and allows you to do much more complex tests where you can do something in the user interface, and you can then check directly in the database if you really have these values in the database. So the longest test we have is runs around 45 minutes, and is doing everything. Okay, that was just a short presentation. The module, or the tool here, was developed originally for version 6.1. We maintained it till version 10, just the Enterprise edition, because we just work with that usually. But will be very, very easy to adapt it also for community. Everything is open source. You can find it here and play around with that. There is only one thing that Firefox changed the system for the extensions, so you have to you need to have an old version of Firefox installed to record the test. To playback, you can go with the newest version of Firefox, but to record it, this plugin just works in an old version of Firefox.
What old version is it?
I think it's 2 versions ago, but it's mentioned there how to install it and everything. Okay. So do you have questions? No.
There is some other Odoo Selenium projects, yeah?
Sorry?
There is some other Odoo Selenium projects.
Maybe.
But you don't, okay. You don't know about them.
No.
Okay.
But if you know about that, I would like to learn about that.
I'm just googling what's about.
Okay.
I see some other.
Okay. Yes.
For front end also?
Sorry.
For front end, does it work?
Okay. The question was, does it work for front end? Yeah, it works for the front end. For the front end, it works as Selenium was thought to work, because the front end doesn't have these structures with many-to-one and so, and it's just a normal website, so you can use Selenium out of the box. We also used it for the website, but there the adaptation we did maybe. Yeah, it's not used at all there, because there you rely on the XPaths, and the XPaths do not change normally with an ID and so on. So for the website, usually it should work quite fine. It's really for the backend. Yes?
I saw in your presentation that on many-to-one widgets, you didn't select any value from the drop-down, but you wrote the whole name.
Yeah.
Is it because it won't work when you select from the drop-down?
Yeah, we had to adapt for each case. We had to find a way how to record it and how to play back. And so we just in the end, we just want to have a line that says, I have a many-to-one on a sale order in the partner field, and there it's the value agrole. So all this information we want to have in one line. And to record it, we just write agrole or for the mouse.
To be a unique value
In the end, yeah, when you have two customers that have agrole, yeah, then you have a problem there. But then you have a problem anyway when you rely on the name. And the name is the only thing you can rely on as user. I mean, when a client sees twice agrole, which one will he select? So he.
If you click with the mouse while recording, it won't catch the.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we didn't match that. So we have like a manual with just a few how to record these few fields where you have to take attention how to record them. Other questions? Yeah.
So if you are able to record the test, does it mean that you always use record the test, or are you using a mix of record the test and also manually written test?
Yeah. So I just repeat the question for the video. The question was, do we always record tests, or do we also rely on manual created tests? Yeah, that's the nice thing when you have a look into the code. It's quite easy to understand the code. So that's something developers like, because they can just copy paste the code, or you see here, this is like a keyword, this is my test. And you can make like packages with this testing, and then let's say creating a sale order, and you can introduce some variables, and then do executing it with different data. There you have the whole strength of the robot framework, because the robot framework is thought to do much more complex things than what we are using it here. Here we just use it to, let's say we go into a many-to-one, and we just use, this here is the code of the robot framework. When you have the keyword many-to-one, it just executes this few lines to have in the end Selenium commands. So it transforms it back to the Selenium commands, and so you have quite a few layers where you can work with. So you can make really complex tests and have modules with creating a sale order, and then you have just one line. and you can put all the variables, all the values in this line, and then you have creating sale order as a keyword. And because the code is that easy to read, here people normally record something. They do not even take care if they make mistakes. They record it, they save it, and then they can adapt it and correct things. And you can reuse a lot of this, what you recorded.
Is it also possible to assert values?
Good question. Question was, is it possible to assert values? Yes. When we adapted the Selenium Builder, in Selenium Builder it's quite easy to assert. You just click there and the assert happens. But we changed the Selenium Builder in a way that was not that a good idea, and it broke this functionality in fact. So the assert either goes that we check it in a later step directly in the database, or that we record that manually this step. So the assert is not that good covered by this. But yeah, naturally in a test you want to have in the end the result and check for the result. But you can do that manually. Yeah.
So the question again. When you record the test, is it that different from a test that is written manually, or can you clean up some recorded tests and it easily looks like a test that would have been written manually? I mean, the level of language of command, is it about the same level? A recorded test and a manually written test? Or is it totally different?
I don't know if I understood the question correctly. Was if a manual test looks the same as a recorded test? Yeah, in fact, it's the same. In the end, what you record produces this file here. And it's just a text file. I mean, there is no difference if you write.
I believe there is lots of garbage in recorded tests, right?
Sorry?
There is probably lots of garbage in the recorded test.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a lot? Is it like maybe is it like 20% of garbage compared?
Depends how many mistakes you make. So the question was, is there a lot of garbage when you record a test? It depends. So, for example, you saw that I cleaned up this one additional step in the many-to-one. There is no need to clean it up. It just makes the test slower. It will select overlay a second time. But yeah, when you make mistakes and you first write the wrong name of the client, then you can record and you can continue with recording it. You can save it and you can clean up the thing in the end. But no, there is no. When you do everything correct, there is no additional commands in the test. So you have really a clean test. Okay.
Can you show us what happens when the test fails?
Question is, what happens when the test fails? You will get a protocol out of the robot framework, just a HTML page, and there you can see what happens.
But while it executes, it just stops. Before you played it, and it just went all the way through.
Yeah.
And if it didn't work, it would just stop mid-playback.
So the question is, does it stop when test fails? Yeah, it will. Yeah, most likely it will stop. There are a few things with Selenium. There the element Selenium wants to click on must be visible, so it couldn't be hidden. Even if it's in the HTML code, it must be visible. When you have a look here, when we transform the argument back that we selected many to x or a many to 1, then you can see that we did a lot of additional work just to prevent situations where the website is not properly loaded and so on. And normally with the usual elements you have in the form view or also in the list view, model view, for example, the Kanban view is not supported in any way because it's so different. You can do so many different stuff that we couldn't find a way to record it properly. Here, this additional code should prevent situations where the test fails because the website is not ready, the server is responding slowly. We also covered things that you move an element into, let's say, a notebook. So it will first check in which notebook the test, that the element is, and first select the notebook that it's visible, and so on. Yes?
You tried screenshots? You know, with Rocket Framework, you can also take screenshots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Does it work?
Yeah. Question is, does it take screenshots? Yeah, it takes screenshots, and this cloud services even, you can get a video from a few cloud services about the whole test, and especially when the test fails, you get a screenshot. There is also a command in the robot framework to take screenshots.
How is building documentation?
Yeah. I think we are in the end, or?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Then thank you very much.